partition of 1947, India has witnessed numerous instances of religious violence specifically targeting Muslims. These incidents have generally stemmed from religious, ethnic, or socio-political tensions, resulting in the loss of life, property destruction, and deep divisions within society. They manifest as violent attacks perpetrated by Hindu nationalist mobs, forming a distressing pattern of sporadic sectarian violence between the Hindu and Muslim communities. Over 10,000 lives have been lost in Hindu-Muslim communal violence. This episode will provide an overview of these communal riots in India, especially focusing on the Babri Masjid demolition violence and the 2002 Gujarat riots. These riots are very clear examples of the harsh violence and persecution Muslims in India face. Before we begin discussing these attacks and their specifics, let's start with some ground clearing again. What are riots? Riots are typically spontaneous and unorganized outbreaks of violence within a community or between different groups. Pogroms, on the other hand, are more organized and systematic acts of violence that target a specific religious, ethnic, or social group. These are motivated by hatred, prejudice, or in the aim to eliminate or subjugate a particular group, and would involve mass killings, forced displacement, destruction of property, and targeted persecution. Throughout this episode, we're going to look at different incidents that were categorized as riots and show how these were in fact pogroms, that is, they were planned and organized attacks targeted on Indian Muslims. Some of the most violent riots included the 1964 Kolkata riots, the Nellie Massacre in 1983 in Assam, which was a brutal attack against Muslims of East Bengal origin by their Hindu neighbors, the 1987 Hashimpura massacre in Meerut, which led to the killing of Muslim youth during Hindu-Muslim riots by the provincial armed constabulary, and lastly, the 1989 Bhagalpur violence rooted in tensions over the Ayodhya dispute that led to a significant loss of lives and displacement. Such communal violence in India is mainly concentrated in the northern and western states. This is not coincidental. Rather, the reoccurrence of such incidents and these patterns of violence have been extensively documented through many studies. Let's look in detail at a few specific pogroms, starting with the Babri Masjid demolition riot. On December 6, 1992, a rally organized by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, the VHP, and the BJP at the Babri Mosque site turned violent. The crowd overwhelmed security forces and demolished the mosque. An inquiry into the incident identified 68 individuals, including leaders of the BJP, who went on to become cabinet ministers, and the VHP as responsible. The demolition led to several months of communal violence, resulting in the death of at least 2,000 people. Disputes regarding the destruction of the mosque had been going on for months. Yet, during the campaign against the Babri Mosque in Ayodhya, the then ruling Congress government showed no willingness to step in and take serious action against Hindu nationalist groups aiming to demolish the mosque. However, the same government's decision to deploy the same army in certain instances, such as the Golden Temple in Amritsar in 1984, were deemed valid. In 2005, former Intelligence Bureau head Malloy Krishna Dhar claimed that the Babri Mosque demolition was planned 10 months in advance. It is not surprising that various studies and inquiry commissions have shown the police forces are also often complicit in anti-Muslim pogroms. The 2002 Gujarat massacre were one of the most brutal episodes of anti-Muslim violence that took place in India. The violence was triggered by the burning of a train in Godhra on February 27, 2002, which resulted in the death of 58 Hindu pilgrims. After these initial incidents, there were further outbreaks of violence in Ahmedabad and other parts of Gujarat for several months, with targeted attacks against Muslims. Official figures state that the riots resulted in approximately 2,000 deaths, 223 people missing, and 2,500 injured. During the riots, there were reports of deliberate targeting and killing of Muslims, widespread looting, and the destruction of property of Muslims. During episodes of communal violence, Hindu mobs also targeted Muslim neighborhoods and employed rape as a weapon, even targeting Hindu women associated with Muslims. Reports gathered by CES, the Center for Equity Studies, through RTI investigations indicated incidents of sexual violence. Bilkis Bano is one such case of a rape survivor who secured the first ever conviction for rape during communal violence. Now, Muslims account for just 4.07% in the police force. While the exclusion of Muslims from the police force explains its communal behavior during the riots, it is not the sole factor. The Gujarat police force has admitted to killing more Muslims than Hindus during the violence. According to a report drafted by the police force themselves, out of the 184 people who died in police firing, 104 were Muslims. In addition to using bullets against Muslim sections of the population, the Gujarat police have also made indiscriminate arrests of innocent young Muslims throughout the state. The tribunal has documented these arrests, and it is estimated that around 500 innocent Muslims are currently detained in police lockups and jails. This biased conduct of the Gujarat police is evident in the language used in the charge sheets related to major incidents of mass killings. In the case of the Gulbarga society killings, where a significant number of people were brutally murdered, the charge sheet starts by defending the accused and portrays the victims as instigators. These pogroms in India have become a recurring pattern, particularly in the northern and western regions. According to Paul Brass, these so-called riots follow a three-phase cycle: preparation, rehearsal, activation, enactment, and explanation, interpretation. Preparation and rehearsal for riots are ongoing activities in these areas. Then these are purposely triggered and initiated during periods of intense political mobilization or during elections to receive support from specific ethnic or religious group. The controlling and explanation of violence is the last phase, where journalists, politicians, and social scientists shape the narrative. The blame is often diffused or put on Indian Muslims, which would perpetuate further violence and maintain the existing social order. The public language surrounding Hindu-Muslim riots always downplays the deliberate nature and instead links them to spontaneous outbursts and long-standing hatred. But these pogroms result in the death of massacres of Muslims through extremely harsh methods. In locations prone to riots such as northern states, these are institutionalized riot systems involving organizations of militant Hindutva nationalism. Here, specific roles are played by people involving in preparing, enacting, and explaining the violence. Later, politicians and media divert attention from the true perpetrators, and this successful blame displacement benefits the government and its leaders without holding anybody accountable. The proper term for these riots are pogroms, and the more violent they are, the more likely these were deliberate in nature. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Southern Insights, brought to you by Tenween English. Please make sure to read the description below that has all our list of references and the reports we have mentioned. See you next time.